Welcome everybody to Executive Life Summit. My name is Chris Caputo, and I'd like to introduce you, Davyeon Ross. How are you?
Doing great. Pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, glad you're here today, man. So Davyeon is an innovative technology leader, widely recognized entrepreneur. He has almost 20 years of experience in the technology sector. He's the founder and COO of DDS Sports, a team sports performance platform fueled by wearable and smart equipment data. His first product, the ShotTracker, is a wearable technology that provides comprehensive real-time stats to players, coaches, and fans in practice and live games. So in 2011, Digital Sports Ventures, founded by Mr. Ross, was acquired by Digital Broadcasting Group, a top 5 video ad network headquartered in New York, with offices in LA, California, Chicago, and now Overland Park. So as part of the acquisition, DBG named Ross Executive Vice President, Publisher Solutions. His responsibilities include overseeing product development around the company's content library platform, acquisition, syndication, and distribution. And he also negotiated the rights to Division I college sports video across 7 major conferences and set the strategy for the company's portfolio of content and interactive technologies. His vision of uniting college sports and digital media into an affordable, turnkey solution has opened new doors for publishers, advertisers, and agencies seeking to engage sports fans in a targeted manner. Wow, that is a mouthful. That is impressive.
It's a lot.
That's a lot, isn't it?
It's been a fun ride.
It's been a ride.
Fun ride.
Okay,
yeah.
So having said all that and set the stage, Davyeon, how are you? How are you feeling today?
I'm doing good.
You doing okay?
Good. It's Friday.
It's Friday, yes.
The entrepreneurial world, that doesn't really mean much.
That's absolutely
you
right.
work Saturday and Sunday, but you know, it's Friday. We've had a good week.
The business comes on with you day and night, night and day. That's right.
Absolutely.
That's right.
Emotional roller coaster.
That's right.
You know.
Well, let's get into it. I'm glad you're here today. So let's start with your love for sports. Is that all right? Can we start there?
Absolutely.
Okay. So tell me where that began and then how that began to translate into your personal and professional development, kind of like the lessons learned from all that, or whatever you want to tell us.
Yeah, so you know, sports has played a really critical role in my life, right?
Okay.
So I mean, I grew up playing sports as a kid. I used to play soccer. So I grew up in Trinidad and Tobago where, you know, soccer is the most dominant sport there. So I grew up playing soccer. Yes, exactly.
Right.
We call it football.
Right.
Say football here, people
No,
think
that's
something
not
totally
good.
different.
That's not good here in Kansas City.
Rest of the world, you're
right.
okay.
Exactly.
So I grew up playing soccer, football, and you know, I shot up like in 6 inches in less than a year. So I started to pick up basketball. I was 17, I got a full basketball scholarship to the US. So, as I said, soccer, sports in general has played like a really critical role in my life. So there's always been a love for it. Played college basketball for 4 years, had a great career, had some opportunities to go overseas, but I also studied computer science and math. So got those degrees and, you know, was able to take an engineering job at Sprint, which was either go play overseas or take the engineering job. Decided to go the engineering route because they'd pay for my green card to stay in the U.S. That's probably the only reason.
Really interesting.
Yeah, that I'd stay. But yeah, so that's been great, and I've been fortunate to be able to get back in sports and be able to really integrate 2 of the things that I'm really passionate about, which is technology. I'm a geek at heart. Technology and sports. So I like to tell people I really don't have a job. I really don't work.
That's
you know,
right.
because when you're doing something you're passionate and love, it makes it so much easier.
I love that. I love that.
Especially during the hard times.
Yeah. Seriously, it's the fuel that keeps you going, doesn't it? When
Absolutely.
When the peaks and the valleys go like this. Okay, so your career as an athlete probably has taught you a whole bunch of stuff, right?
Absolutely.
A lot of ups and downs all around. Was there any kind of mentor or coach or like, tell us a little bit more about some of your influences, maybe earlier on, or maybe there was no one spectacular, but more of a principle that really kind of.
Well, I think that you know, just growing up in the islands as a kid, you know, we didn't have much, and I saw my parents just work an enormous amount. So I think that, you know, one of the things that impacts me is, you know, just my parents as just, you know, idols or people that I look up to, and the work ethic that I saw that they had to go through to provide for us. So once you instill that work ethic, then, you know, anything is possible at that point in time. So for me, it was, you know, my parents with the work ethic. I also think growing up in a place like Trinidad where, you know, it's a third world country, et cetera, you end up being really resourceful.
Yes.
Because you have to figure stuff out and make stuff happen. And I think those are some of the tools that I take as I go into the entrepreneurship world. You know, I try to be the most resourceful. You're not going to outwork me.
Wow.
And so, yeah, those are just a couple. From a professional perspective, you know, I've got some really good mentors and There isn't one person in particular, but there's a lot of people that I have relationships with that I can call, whether it's like being on the phone with David Stern, the former commissioner of the NBA, or just some guys who have mentored me, took me under their wing when I actually took my first engineering job at Sprint. I actually left with those guys to do another company, when I left Sprint. So I've been very, very fortunate and blessed to have a lot of great people around me to be able to learn from their experiences to kind of impact, my life going forward.
How critical was that?
Oh, I think it was extremely critical. I always like to say, and I tell this to my team all the time, it takes a village. It's impossible to do anything by yourself. I sit here today with a company that was acquired, and if I look back at like the events of that company, Digital Sports Ventures, we sold that company in October 2011. And if I look back at why we were successful, it wasn't just because of me, it was because of the team. And just creating an environment that's conducive to the team feeling like they could bring ideas to the table. I look at our company now. I've got a co-founder. I've got an incredible team. And so I just think it takes a village. So you gotta, it takes a lot of people to make this stuff. It's hard. It takes a lot of people to bring it to fruition.
So how did you assemble your team? How did you know you found the right combination? And did you learn it? Was that from kind of your family growing up and how the village all pulled together to get through, and then it kind of translated into your collegiate career and that team mentality, and then?
I think it's sports.
Yeah.
I think sports is like, I tell people all the time, like if you can, put your kids in sports. I don't care if they're going to be the worst athlete on the team, or I don't care if they're not going to get any playing time. I don't care if they're not going to get a college scholarship. But the things you learn in sports as a kid is all about team, right?
Yes.
Understanding roles and responsibilities, understanding, cheering your team on, understanding sacrifice. Hey, I may be the best player, but for some reason I'm not starting. Why is that? So for me, a lot of all the things that I've gone through in life, I've learned from sports, and I've just taken it and try to apply it to, my relationships, my businesses, etc. So I think sports is probably, the best teacher in my mind of life.
So what's I guess what I'm kind of feeling to go with your recruiting strategy, like what do you look for?
Team.
Yeah, like how did you build your team?
Yeah, sorry.
Someone no, that's not, you're fine. Someone that's watching this, maybe they're wanting to step out and they know it's going to take a team to win the game.
Yeah.
Right? Teams win the game. So where do you begin to assemble your team that's
so
most
I think
effective?
there's a few things, right? So first of all, you need to understand, like functionally, from a domain expertise perspective,
right.
What are the components you need? So for us, we need hardware people because we have a hardware device. We need software people, architects, etc. We also need sales people. So we try to understand functionally what we look for. I'm a big advocate for diversity. So as I think about teams, I don't want everybody who
to be like
through
you.
the same experiences.
Exactly.
So that's a big thing for me. I want people who look different, talk different, think different. I just want different people, because when you actually bring different people with different mentalities, different thought process, like you just get a better solution. So for me, that's like a big, big emphasis. And when you look at my team, that is reflective. Additionally, I want people who have the right mindset. Mindset and mentality is a big deal. There's people, so for instance, I'll give you a couple examples.
Sure.
There was a guy that we brought on our team. He was an engineer. Dude was incredibly smart, one of the smartest scientists that I've ever met. The problems we had with him was, if it wasn't his idea, it wasn't a good idea. And that's that's detrimental to a team.
Yes.
So that was one of the things. So he wasn't about our concept, which is the best idea should always win. I don't care if I'm walking to the bathroom and I see the janitor and he has a good idea for me, I'm taking it. If it's good, I want it. If it's going to help us win, I want it.
Yes.
Right? So that was his first mentality. And then he had this other mentality that was, if it wasn't in his past, it didn't really exist. And when you're actually doing innovative things, you can't have preconceived notions. You have to go into solving these problems with like a anything is possible type of mentality. And he was really influenced. So we helped him move on, because he wasn't a fit in regards to what we were looking for as a team.
Yes.
He wasn't a team player.
Yes.
And so as we go into this, we have these things that we look for in people. I would say we love athletes, not only because we're a sports company, but just because we feel like people who have been through sports teams, whether or not they sucked, even if they were on the team, there are different things that they're bringing to the table, and they understand how teams work.
Right. That's awesome. Okay. So you are ready to get bought out by, what was the name of that company again? It was
Digital Broadcasting Group in October
DBG?
2011. DBG.
Okay.
Yeah.
So leading up to that, were you looking to get acquired, or were you, did the opportunity came to you? Tell us a story about how that came to be.
You're gonna need something stronger than water.
Uh-oh.
That's
him now.
You need something a little stronger than water. But no,
That's after the interview.
Yeah, but that was an interesting situation because we really weren't looking to be bought out. It was one of those situations where,
wow.
we were looking to partner. So just to kind of lay the landscape. So what we did as Digital Sports Ventures, started a company in January 2007. We sold in October 2011. But what we did was we actually negotiated rights for Division I college sports video. So Big 12, Pac-12, ACC, Mountain West Conference, USA, SEC, and Big 10.
Okay.
So we'd have all that video and we'd syndicate it. We got to the point where the company was doing well. We were streaming about 1.2 million videos a day.
Wow.
One of the things that we struggled with is that it's an advertised-based business. We had about 600 publishers nationwide carried. We're streaming 1.2 million videos a day, and we're selling advertising. But a lot of that stuff happens on the coast. Yeah. It doesn't happen a lot in the. Midwest. So we try to form some partnerships with some groups who had pretty large advertising audiences. So, for instance, that's where DBG came, because DBG was, they were doing billions of impressions a day. They were like significant. They were
Sure.
top 5 as it relates to video streams. So, it started off as like some partnerships, and then we had a couple partnerships that end up competing, and lo and behold, we have an offer, and and then there's a situation where the offer wasn't initially from DBG, it was from somebody else that we were going to go with, and they try to like play tough ball with us, and we just said, forget it, taking our chips back off the table, and then DBG stepped in. So it was a little bit of drama, a little bit of stress, a lot of emotional roller coaster, but all in all, it worked out well.
Wow.
So that's the abbreviated version.
No, that's great. No, that's.
We only got 30 minutes.
But really, what they were. Thank you, I appreciate that. So what they were going for was the system that you built, and the foundation and the tech infrastructure, right?
That's right.
And you became very valuable to them.
Absolutely.
And guys were doing fine before that. Yeah. But then you saw that as an opportunity, right? So then it's like, this is interesting. Now, you feel like you're more freed up now in a sense?
I'm definitely. So, I had to work for them for a year.
Okay.
After October 11th, and worked for them for a year, got really good at golf, and then played a little bit of golf.
You could do a little tracking on that.
Yeah.
I sense another instrument coming. No, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Played a little bit of golf, and then my partner reached out to me. He had this idea. He was shooting in the back with his son, and he was like, "Dude, how did you do this in college?" I'm like, "It's the big pain in the butt, having to like manually track all your stats." And he was like, "We should consider building something like this." Because it was around that time where you get the phenomena of like the Nike Fuel Band, you've got like the Fitbit, everybody's coming out with this whole quantified self, right? And all these different products were really targeted at, I would say individual sports. So if you think about running, individual sports, cycling, individual sports. So how can we take that whole mechanism, that whole methodology, and apply it to team sports? I remember telling him, "Hey, let me do some research. I'll call you back." And I took a look at it. Next morning, I called him back. I'm like, "Dude, this is wide open. We should definitely do it."
Wow.
And we both stroked a check. It's funny because he had actually sold his company in December of 2012, and then we just both stroked a check and started, ShotTracker, which is really exciting.
Wow.
Some of the things we're working on.
Where are you now? Where's ShotTracker?
Yeah, so
Not being
again,
familiar
for
with
context,
the product, I have an idea.
For context, ShotTracker is a sensor-based technology.
Okay.
So we actually put a small sensor on the player.
Okay.
We put a sensor in the ball. Actually, it goes on your shoe, so it doesn't impact your jump shot or anything.
Cannot interfere with the jump shot.
You cannot.
Being a number 4 forward on the court, you cannot interfere with that, or rebounding either, right?
Exactly.
Anyway, sorry.
So we put a small sensor in the ball.
Yeah.
Today we have partnerships with Spalding, Wilson, Under Armour. We're working on a Nike ball right now. And then we put these court sensors above the rafters. And what it does is it turns the court into like this 3-dimensional object where it turns it into a big video game in the simplest terms. So now we can actually track where you are in the court within 2 to 5 centimeters. And when you get that XYZ data, we've written all these algorithms where we can actually populate a box score.
Oh my gosh.
So right now in a box score, even in the NBA, you got 8 to 10 people sitting there keeping track of everything.
Yeah.
For us, we could sit back and we could see the data populating assists, turnovers, steal, rebound, offensive, defenses, etc. So now when you get that data, think about it from a team perspective. You could say, hey, when we do 2 ball reversals and a paint touch, our points per possession goes up from 0.6 to 1.14, or our shooting percentages when we go down the right side and we do XYZ go from 25 to 55%. So it's really an analytics game. We're seeing sports and analytics like becoming pretty significant. Think about baseball, the sabermetrics, Moneyball, the movie. I mean, all those are
fantasy
based on,
leagues. I mean, it's just ridiculous now with all that, right?
Yeah. So so that's kind of where we're at ShotTracker. We're in a great place. We've got offices. We've got about 26 people, and we just closed some pretty large D1 schools implementing our tech. It's pretty cool to sit at the office and see like these big colleges practicing, and because our data is in real time, we could sit at the office and watch it coming in real time on an iPad.
Right.
So it's pretty powerful. It's exciting. We've accomplished a ton, but man, we're just skimming the surface.
Just getting started.
Yeah, we're just getting started.
That's powerful. All right, let's take it off the court a little bit.
Okay.
So we talked about on the court and how you don't go to work anymore, right?
Don't tell anybody.
I won't tell anybody. Secret is safe with me, my friend. Okay, so what would you say maybe has been your biggest struggle or challenge on this road to where you're at right now?
So from a ShotTracker perspective, we've had, I don't know if there's a biggest challenge, but if I was to sum it all up, I'd say it's fear, right? But there's a lot of little challenges that bubble up. We filed like 17 patents right now. So what that means is that we're innovating.
Yes.
We're actually doing stuff that's never been done. We're going to bring out a rechargeable basketball that's really never been done in the way we're doing it.
Rechargeable basketball?
What?
How does that work?
It actually just goes on a rack. You put it on the rack and what do you do with a basketball when you get done? You put it on the rack.
Put it down, right?
And then you put it on the rack, it automatically charges. And it can charge not like, so for instance, the iPhone, it has to charge via inductive charging.
Yeah.
We could actually charge an iPhone that's sitting 3 to 4 inches away.
Wow.
So my point is like,
so Pat, a lot of new ideas.
Yeah, a lot of new ideas. And with that comes like a lot of stress, a lot of pain, a lot of fear in scientifically, can it be done? Right? So, and for a startup, that's not necessarily where you want to be because that gets costly when you're trying to solve these problems. So that's one thing that like I always, I trust in my team, I trust in myself, and I feel like we have the tools and the people to be able to solve all these things.
Yeah.
It's just when. You got to make sure the timing is right. So that's something that I always, I'm always fearful about. In regards to just making sure that we continue. And it's not because we definitely are capable, and it's not if, it's when.
Okay.
And making
so
sure
you're
that
afraid of the timing may not be right to penetrate the market?
Yeah, everything is timing. Everything is timing, right? So just making sure that we can move accelerated, move fast, continue to execute. Execution is a big thing for us. We feel like we've solved all the problems, not all of them, but most of them, and we've got all the pieces in play. Now it's like, how do we execute? How do we make this work? How do we make this more affordable? The vision that we have is that ShotTracker should be the gyms as Wi-Fi is the coffee shops.
Interesting.
So if you think about that, I don't know of a coffee shop without Wi-Fi.
Right.
And if there's one, they're not going to last very long.
Wow.
So our whole thought process is that we want to get to the point where it's like second nature. When people go to a gym, they expect to get that data in real time.
Right.
And that's where we'll be successful.
Wow, that's powerful. Okay, so how do you overcome when you run into that innovation? Let's just call it a whiteboard festival, and you're proving out your concept. And you say you do so. Just so we can unpack that a little bit more, the fundamentals, execution. What does that look like more so on a practical level, as far as just so people can understand, like the day in the life when the heart's beating and you're not sure. How do you manage that? How do you overcome that? What more specifically strategies do you use?
So for me, it's
is it going work out? Is it like talk to somebody?
So I'm fortunate that like we have a full basketball court in our gym. So every time I'm stressed, I just go shoot some jumpers.
All right.
Kind of relieve some stress.
Yeah.
That's very helpful. For us, it's like we have like a unique confidence about our ability to execute and deliver.
Okay.
And, if you put the right people around you that like nothing is impossible,
Right.
then like you just feed off of each other.
Right.
Like everybody that we have, when we actually put a problem in the middle, is like their minds are just working on like, how do I solve this? How do I solve this? And there's a certain level of confidence, but there's a certain level of humility when someone else throws out an idea. Everybody's trying to one up each other's idea. And it's actually in a very healthy way.
Yes.
That we're trying to one up each other's ideas. So it ends up being like this cumulative idea. So for us, when we get into problem solving or in one of those situations, it just makes us stronger because nobody's trying to say, hey, well, I had 1/8 of that idea, right? Everybody's just looking at it as like a total team effort, throw in, how do we solve it? What do we need to do? So, a big piece of it is the team, big piece of it is staying calm, big piece of it is just confidence in our ability to execute and deliver that I think makes us successful.
Here's what I admire about you when I'm getting to know you today for the first time. There is that confidence, but there's that maturity that's there. You're secure in yourself. You're not threatened by if there's a smarter person in the room with some aspect of the business. You're like, come on, bring it. And you're not shutting them down, shutting them out.
Oh, absolutely not.
Well, we've been in companies before where this happens, right?
I agree. And that's probably one of the reasons why I probably can't work for anybody. Just because I feel like,
And the crowd goes wild. Foot three, boom. Yeah, keep going, sorry.
I just think that I think that's the whole genius in it.
Yeah.
Right? Realizing that you are not the smartest person in the room. If I am ever the smartest person in the room, I want to leave that room.
Wow.
I'll be honest with you, because at that point in time, you stop learning.
Right.
And look, I don't mind being the smartest person in the room in some facets.
Right.
Right. I just don't want to be the overall smartest person in the room and every single thing, everybody's looking to me.
Yes.
And I think that's one of the powerful things about building a team. So for instance, I got a computer science and a math degree.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm fairly technical. I don't code as much anymore, but I'm extremely technical.
Yeah.
Right. But then I have a CTO that's you think I may be smart technical. This dude is on a whole other level. And I love that.
Yeah.
I love that because every time I talk to this dude, I am always learning something. Everything I run into a bottleneck, I could always be like, Clint, take a look at this. And I think that your team appreciates that, right? Your team appreciates it. I remember a situation where we were having our collaboration as a team and we were throwing out ideas, and I threw out an idea, and everybody's like, yeah, we need to do that. And then an intern, the dude was just there for the summer, he threw out an idea. And I'm like, that's better than mine. We're going with that one. And that sets your tone for the team.
That's right.
Because when the team sees one of these founders are not stuck, we'll take an idea from an intern who is not going to be here at the end of August, then that says to the team that, wow, how can I think that, my idea is always the best.
Yeah.
So it sets a really cool environment that's conducive to, just thought-provoking, brainstorming, and that whole concept of the best idea should always win.
Wouldn't you love to work for this guy? Amazing, isn't it?
Some
no,
days.
Seriously, no, but I hear you. And there's times where you got to get on the court and center, right? And recenter again. So physical movement is how you overcome. Just kind of get out of that space, get out of that funk, just do some movement, get into action, and then harness the power of the people. Yeah. But also, here's what I'm hearing also is you cultivate trust.
Absolutely.
You create a culture of trust.
Absolutely.
It's powerful. But you're leading. That's called leadership. You're not managing your team. You're leading your team.
Yeah.
Right?
I'm a work in progress.
Yeah.
But I learned so much from them.
Yeah.
It's an incredible experience to be able to learn from them, and then they know that a lot of times I'll reach out to them and say, hey, what's going on here? How can I help you? How could I run block and tackle?
Yes.
I'm big. Let me be your line. Just run behind me. Get behind me. Let me hit the brick walls. And I think people appreciate that. And as I said, we're very fortunate. We're very blessed. Everybody on our team is just incredible.
The amount of times I've sat here and I've had, I guess they've always talked about being an eternal student.
Yeah,
that's kind of a pattern and a rhythm for everybody that they're always learning. They never have it all figured out.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally agree.
Cool. All right. So, as we're kind of winding down the back nine, the number one thing to the next generation coming up. I don't. Maybe you have some of the younger generation working for you right now, coming out of school.
We do.
If you were teaching them, Coach, you given the secret ingredient. What is it that these younger folks that are coming up through the ranks? What do they need to know to get to the level they want to get to?
There's a few things I always tell younger people. Do it while you're young. Just because, like in hindsight, I just think that there's so much things that you could accomplish, so many things that you can see and experience when you're younger, when you don't have like a family to worry about. Yes. And so I always push them, like, I wish I would have jumped sooner. I wish I would have taken that leap of faith sooner. Now, I think that there's a balance between going and getting domain expertise and working and picking up and learning and then jumping into something you have some experience. But I always tell them, the world is your playground. You have to, I am who I am because of the experiences, because of the people that I put around me. And I always encourage them to really just go out there and experience stuff. Take that leap of faith. You can always get a job from an entrepreneurial perspective. So those are things that I tell them that, when I look back at, I would tell my, younger, slimmer self.
So here's kind of I told you maybe there may be an interesting question that we didn't see coming. What if someone that you are pouring into, raising up, and then they go? Not bad because they are just rising to the level. They're becoming superstars. How do you?
Gosh, that's a real tough one. But like if you have, so I think when you're an entrepreneur, again, you have to be, there's a piece of it that you want people with the same mentality, but you got to have some different people, right?
Sure.
And, with the people that I bring in, the reason we're successful and they're innovative is because they do have entrepreneurial aspirations.
Right.
They do have a problem-solving mentality. And they're not just going to be like, hey, at 6 o'clock, I'm going to start problem solving. That's all the problem solving I'm going to do. When I go home, people who think like that, breathe like that, they're doing it 24 hours. Yep. Which means that they're going to probably start thinking about like their own companies and that type of stuff. So it's really a tough one for me because it's like sometimes you gotta let the baby go, right?
Yeah.
And I think we build enough relationships with people where, as hard as it is, it's exciting to see people move on to do the things that they're passionate or the things that they love. In my previous company, Digital Sports Ventures, we had a young lady who played volleyball at Nebraska, and she came and she was doing a ton of stuff for us, business development. She was on camera. She was like. And her love was to be on camera full time, but we couldn't put her on camera full time.
Right.
And then she gets this job with Fox in Dallas. And I'm like, ugh. But, I had to get over that because like this was her passion. This is where she evolved to be this incredible, she was so talented that I had to like foster it, right? And as hard as it was, I did not want to see her go, but I knew that it was better for her. And it's, I think it's tough, but it's, you got to do the right thing. It's kind of cool now when I see her on TV at the Cowboy Stadium on the sidelines, and I think, wow, she started with us. So, as long as people are people too, right? And they have it's cool to have people live your dreams, but that's just not, sometimes they have their own dreams. And I think that it's as hard as it is, you have to be that person that, supports that.
I'm going to say something to the audience right now. I encourage you to watch this interview again and listen to what this man's saying because I can guarantee you that, what was her first name?
Gosh.
She's from Dallas. All right, Dallas.
Dallas. Yeah, Erin.
Erin. Apologies, Erin. It's all good.
Yeah.
I bet you it probably broke her heart to leave the organization because the best boss she ever, and the thing that I notice about you is that you come from a place of abundance. Yeah. You have an abundance mentality because I know that position will come back and be filled in spades, or there is always more people, more opportunity to get on the team to raise them up, right? Yeah. And if you have this bling, I got to keep you down, or I can't see you get too big because, oh my God, that's going to threaten my bottom line. Yeah. Well, guess what? In the long run, that's going to hurt that business owner. I can guarantee, and they know it, and the people working for you, they know that.
I have to say this, it wasn't easy.
Yeah.
And I probably, with the maturity that came from like going through that experience, I probably handle those experiences better.
Yeah.
There's probably things that I look back that I probably could have handled that experience better too. So I'm far from perfect. I know that I had to support her. It was tough.
Yeah.
Because I did not want to see her go, because I was thinking sometimes about how that would impact me.
Right.
So I mean, I think I'm a lot more mature now, and I could look back and say, well, wow, I did these things well, but I would change these things in regards to how I handled it too. So again, still learning.
But you did it in faith back then, even though now you've got the confidence.
Yeah.
You can
And the
attract, it'll be
perspective.
fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, at the time, you made the right choice. And look
Yeah.
at where you're at now because of that.
Yeah,
As a result
absolutely.
of that. How was this? Did you enjoy this?
It was fun. It was fun. I
great.
always like, you know, I think it's always an opportunity to pay it forward what you learn, and I appreciate the opportunity. Thank you very much.
I think you're a rock star on the court and off the court. And I appreciate you coming down today.
Take care.
Davyeon
It's been a
Ross,
pleasure.
everybody.
Thank you.
We'll be right back. Tim Anderson, R2 Productions, Video Productions. How are you?
I'm good, I'm good.
Tell us a little bit what you do today.
Hey, you know, I am a full-service video production company. I'm a one-man shop,
Okay.
which really helps smooth things because from beginning concept through filming, through editing, I'm the person that they talk to.
You are the man.
Yeah, I like to say
You
that. I
like
like
to
to
think
think
that? You
so.
like that, huh?
Absolutely, I like to think so, yes. So it really smooths things, makes it work really well. So
Okay.
that at the end, the client gets exactly what they're looking for.
Fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit. What are you up to now? With what's new with R2 Video
You know,
Productions?
something and I shoot all kinds of videos,
Yeah.
of course, but the thing I've really been concentrating on lately are employee recruitment videos.
Okay.
It's a tough job market out there. It's
Yes.
really hard for employers to find quality employees.
Yes.
We've really found that video can help bridge that gap for them. It really puts a personal face on their company, allows them to differentiate themselves from their competition. Been really successful with it. So I'm really concentrating on that right now.
Well, Tim, we appreciate the work that you're doing, and thanks so much for sponsoring us today.
Absolutely. Thanks,
All right.
Chris.
All
Look
right.
forward to it.